in the heart of the Ga-Adangme lands, where tradition and mysticism intertwined, lay a secret, a drum hidden deep within the shadows of a sacred forest shrine. Known only through whispers, the drum was said to summon the spirit of dreams, but those dreams often turned into nightmares. For generations, the drum remained silent, bound by vines and the weight of time. One morning, as the golden sun rose over the village of Wuyu, a curious boy named Nai wandered into the forest. With a tattered book clutched under his arm and wonder in his eyes, he found himself standing before the forbidden shrine. The air was heavy, as though the forest itself were holding its breath. There it was, the legendary drum, weathered yet pulsing faintly with an otherworldly energy. This had to be the drum of the ancestors, Ni thought. The stories had called it powerful, dangerous, but curiosity was a force Ni could not resist.
Ni stepped into the shrine, his bare feet crunching on dry leaves. As he reached out to touch the drum, the forest grew eerily silent. The vines that encased it seemed to shift, as if watching. When his fingers brushed the surface, a deep hum vibrated through the air, sending chills down his spine. The vines retreated, curling away as though bowing to him. The drum glowed faintly, its light flickering like a heartbeat. Summoning his courage, Nai struck it once. The sound reverberated unnaturally, louder than any drum should be, as if the entire forest had become an echo chamber. Shadows danced around him, forming shapes before melting back into the trees. The drum was alive. That night, in his small mud brick home, Ni placed the drum by his bedside and drifted to sleep. His dreams were unlike anything he had ever experienced. The vibrant colors of a festival filled his mind, a grand celebration in Wuyu. Dancers adorned in gold moved in perfect rhythm, while drummers played beats that made the earth tremble. The village glowed under a silver moon, and the air was thick with joy. But as quickly as the dream had come, it twisted. A storm erupted, dark clouds swallowing the sky. Flames engulfed the village, consuming everything in their path. Shadowy figures emerged, their glowing red eyes fixed on Ni. He ran, but the figures chased him relentlessly. When Ni woke, his heart was pounding. Sweat drenched his body, and his breath came in short gasps. Outside his home, faint scorch marks stained the ground, the exact spot where flames had burned in his dream.
The next day, Ni walked through the bustling marketplace of Wuyu, his mind racing with fear and confusion. He sought the one person who might understand, Numo Kuma, the village elder, known for his deep wisdom and connection to the mystical. Numo Kuma's hut stood at the edge of the village, filled with ancient artifacts, scrolls, and carved wooden symbols. Nai explained the events in a rush: the drum, the dreams, the scorch marks. The elder listened quietly, his piercing eyes never leaving the boy. When Ni finished, Numokuma sighed deeply. He spoke of the drum's power, a gift from the ancestors that could bring dreams and nightmares to life. It granted great power, but at a cost. It exposed the deepest fears and desires of the player. The elder's voice grew heavy with warning. The drum did not belong to this world, and once awakened, its presence could no longer be ignored. Scene 5. The nightmare returns. As the sun dipped below the horizon, a red light bathed the village. Ni felt the shift before he saw it. A cold, suffocating presence settling over Wuyu. The shadows from his nightmare began to take shape, towering over the village like giants. The largest of them, a figure with glowing red eyes, loomed menacingly, its darkness spreading like a storm. The villagers screamed, scattering in panic. Ni's legs trembled as he watched the shadow wreak havoc. its form pulsating with malice. He ran through the chaos, desperate to find Numokuma. The elder's expression was grave when Ni reached him. He explained that the shadow was not an outside force, but a reflection of Ni's own fear. The drum mirrored the soul, and the only way to defeat it was to confront it directly. Ni found himself in a moonlit clearing deep within the forest, the drum slung over his shoulder. The towering shadow followed, its glowing eyes burning with fury. Ni's hands shook as he placed the drum before him. The elder's words echoed in his mind. To conquer the drum, you must conquer yourself. Striking the drum with trembling hands, Ni summoned visions of his happiest memories. His mother's laughter filled the clearing, her voice wrapping around him like a warm embrace. He saw himself playing by the river with his friends, their joy untainted by fear. The festival returned vibrant and alive, its colors pushing back the darkness. The shadow recoiled with each strike, shrinking and writhing. Ni's strikes grew stronger, his voice firm as he declared, "You are not real. You are just a nightmare." With a final, resounding beat, the shadow collapsed into the drum. The clearing grew silent, and the oppressive presence vanished. As dawn broke over Wu Yu, the village was peaceful once more. Ni walked through the quiet streets, the drum slung across his back. He returned to Numokuma, who stood waiting at the edge of the marketplace. The elder looked at the boy with a mixture of pride and caution. Ni explained that the drum was quiet now, but he could still feel its power. Numokuma nodded, placing a hand on Ni's shoulder. He reminded the boy that the drum had chosen him for a reason, and it was now his responsibility to use its power wisely, or risk being consumed by it. As Noi looked out over the village, the sun rising behind him, he felt a newfound strength. The drum was no longer a burden, but a part of him. In the end, it was not the drum that held power, but the boy who dared to master it. And in doing so, Ni became the guardian of dreams and nightmares.